surgery he does. Well, look how chapter 14 ends. Look at verse 10. And it says, he himself shall drink the wine of the wrath which is poured out, the strength of his cup of indignation. Listen to this, verse 10. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascends forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image and who receive the mark. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God, the faith of Jesus. Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Verse 13. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works follow them. God has holy wrath against sin and sinners, and it's endless. That's the doctrine of hell. True believers never stop believing. They die even on earth as martyrs, and they never stop believing. Verse 12 says, the patience of those that keep the commandments. But Jesus, look at verse 14, offers understanding. And he talks about, verse 14, the Son of Man, the cloud on his head. This is an image of Jesus as the judge. And he says, thrust in the sickle, verse 15. Jesus explains that there is a time coming when he is coming to judge the world. And then chapter 15 is really, the best way to understand chapter 15, the rapid wrath of God, is to see it. So chapter 15 introduces chapter 16. And I'll read it to you, but what it's saying is that God is assembling these angels to come walking up to the edge and dump their shallow saucer bowls of these bowls of wrath. And when they parallel a little bit the trumpets that we've already covered in 8 through 11. But chapter 15 introduces these bowls, and chapter 16 shows them being dumped out. And basically, the sores on men, the burning of the trees. You notice only a third, only a third, only a third, only a third. But here, it's everything. Everything dies in the sea. All the rivers become blood. The sun scorches everyone. Darkness is on all the earth dwellers. And then we have the kings of the east. And as a part of these bowls, we have this. We have the whole Armageddon thing. But let me read to you chapter 15 that introduces this, and I'll kind of tie it together with this song that they sing. I saw another sign. Remember, there's 7 of them. I already showed you that. Great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them the wrath of God is complete. So what happens is there's 7 angels walking out with their bowls. And they're walking out like this. So that's what he's introducing. And I saw something like a sea of glass mingled with fire, and those who have the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, standing on the sea of glass, having harps of God. And they sing this song. They sing a song of Moses, the servant of God, the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are your works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are your ways, O King of the saints. Who shall not fear you, O Lord, and glorify your name? For you alone are holy. And all the nations shall come and worship before you, for your judgments have been made manifest. From a human perspective, what we're seeing with all these people standing on the glass with singing this song, these are basically people that have had victory over the beast. How'd they have victory over the beast? They died. How did they die? He killed them. So from a human perspective, we'd go, what is this? A whole bunch of people that got martyred. From a human perspective, they lost their life. But what is chapter 15 giving us? A divine perspective. The moment we got saved, the moment the San Francisco miracle couple got saved, they have endless life, and so do we. That's the perspective we need. Jesus said, whoever loses their life for my sake gains endless life. Now, there's 2 ways you can lose your life. Be like them and be killed by the Antichrist, or be like the missionaries around the world that are suffering persecution and martyrdom in all different parts of the world. Lose it quick, which is easier than the other way. lose it quick. There's something called dying grace. And it's been over and over proven in history. Those that have studied martyrdom have found that there is an unusual grace of God that comes upon people that are being martyred. I mean, have you read Through Gates of Splendor with Jim Elliot? How they said that as the Auca Indians were shooting arrows into him, Elizabeth Elliot wrote that the Indians said that they heard something like singing, and they were looking like this. And it said that the men, as they were, getting the arrows in them and being martyred, that the men were actually smiling and were looking up. And it's almost like the Lord gave them this overwhelming dying grace that they saw heaven opened. So there's one way you can lose your life, kind of the rapid martyrdom way. Do you know what the other way is? Dying daily. That's much harder. I'm crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, presenting my body a living sacrifice. Do you know what's harder than being a quick, killed, thrown off the cliff martyr? To be a lifelong dyer for Christ. But it doesn't matter, both count. And Jesus said, whoever loses their life for my sake, like all these people on the crystal sea that were martyred, or all of you that never get martyred, but die daily to your desires and sacrifice yourself for Christ, you gain unending life. From a human perspective, all the people standing in the sea were simply killed, and that was the end of them. But Jesus said no. Whoever desires to save his life will lose it. Chapter 8 of Mark's Gospel, verse 35. But whoever loses his life for my sake and the Gospel's will save it forever. So, how do we share the eternal gospel in such an evil world? Simply by being a healthy Christian. And the 144,000 show us what they look like. And they have that purity and love and grace that makes it possible.